Hey everyone, this is Hari from SyncEzy, and today I'm going to show you how to set up the SimPro to Safety Culture integration. It's fairly straightforward and it can be done in about 10 minutes. I'll show you how and you can just follow along. So start off with going into your My Integrations area in your portal. Once you have subscribed, and typically you would have gone from here, selected the safety culture integration, viewed pricing, and then subscribed from there. Once you've subscribed, the app will end up in your My Integrations area. And over here, you can go into the details. Now, to start with, you'll see that SimPro and Safety Culture is disconnected. These red text here, we need to change that to green. So just hit connect and hit SimPro. And you can enter the standard URL, which is probably the easier way to go about this. And you can also select the company ID. In this case, I'm going to select my company ID from SimPro. So just choose a company that you'd like integrated. In this case, I'll choose 23 and enter 23. You can go with the simple authentication, which is the OAuth, or you can, my preference always is to go with the advanced authentication, where you enter the URL, you enter the company ID, and you enter the auth token. Now to get the auth token, go to System Setup API Applications and create an application with API key as the method, which you can do by going into SimPro, System Setup API Applications, and then basically create a new application and just call it SimPro Safety Culture. This is not that important. You can call it anything. Call it SimPro Safety Culture, and then select the authentication method as API key and then generate that token. This token is super important in this particular case, as that is the token that we will use to authenticate. Once SimPro is connected, you will see the green connected text instead of the red disconnected, and you'll see the reconnect and disconnect buttons. Normally, you never hit on those, as these are terminal. So you want to be careful. You can hit the green button to reconnect if you want to change the SimPro user, but never hit the red disconnect button, as that will be a nuclear button and terminate the connection. Then we come to Safety Culture. We do the same thing. We click on connect, and then enter the API token. It looks something like this. And to get the API token, you can go to, in Safety Culture, you can go to your Safety Culture account, go to Settings, Integrations, and within Integrations, you can go to Manage My API Tokens, generate a new API token, and then use that token. Once both of the apps are connected, it should look something like this, where the connect and disconnect buttons would be hidden under this particular drop-down arrow. And the reason we hide them is we don't want you accidentally clicking on any of these. That's why we hide them. But basically, once it's green and once this is green, once both the apps are green, that means we have the connection and you shouldn't really have to click on this anymore. Perfect. You can see that we've connected both the apps. You can confirm the company ID. In most cases, if you have a single company, the ID will be 0. Once this is done, the next steps are basically in the safety culture. But before that, we'll just do a quick check here. You've got the SimPro Job List, which is a field that which is a global response set that we create in safety culture, which takes the SimPro job number and converts it into this kind of format. Say it converts it into job ID, site name, which is McDonald's Sydney, and then customer name McDonald's. So you would have something like a field created with this sort of structure within your safety culture, and you can use that response set in all of the future templates that you want to use. Once you're happy with 365 days, which is the number of days we can go back in history, you can hit submit, and that then creates the SimPro Job List global response set. Let's look at safety culture and see how this looks going forward. So if I go into my safety culture account and we go into templates, and let's look at any of these safety culture templates. So if I look at, let's say this one, This is an inspection template, 2 pages, 17 questions. I'll edit that template. And this is again one of the standard templates that I've just downloaded off the Safety Culture. But basically what we need to do is fairly simple. I will simply create a new section in here called SimPro data. It doesn't need to be that. It can be, depending upon how your template is, you could organize it differently. And within the SimPro data, I'll create a couple of questions. The first one is SimPro job number. This is the only question that we would expect the technicians to fill out. And the answer to this would be not text, but it would be a SimPro Job List, which is a response set that we create, and it should be available for you in here in this section. You'll obviously have only one. We have multiple because we've created them multiple times. Once you have the SimPro Job List response set, remember that your technicians, when they do this inspection, they only need to do this. Everything else is optional for them. So I'll go ahead and add a bunch of other questions in here. And they would be, for example, SimPro job name. This is a text answer. All of our answers will always be text answer. That's what we would do. And then we have SimPro site name. This would again be text answer. I'll create SimPro customer name. We'll have SimPro private notes. And you can basically create any field that you want from the SimPro job that you need to come here, so that basically we can have any information over a couple of hundred fields that we can currently pull from SimPro, and that can come in here. And that's it. I'm just going to add another section in here called optional. These fields are all optional for the technician to fill. The technician doesn't really need to fill these because we will fill them all as a part of the integration. The only thing that a technician needs to fill is that SimPro job number within the template. Once you're happy with these questions, then you can again add multiple. So I can go in and say SimPro technician name, and so on and so forth. So we've got all of these fields created. I'm going to hit publish on this particular template. Then we can come in here into SyncEzy, and we can respectively pair these fields. So here's what that looks like. So in SyncEzy, we've got field pairing, where we take the data from SimPro and push that into Safety Culture. So in this case, I've got customer details, which typically is customer name. So I'll take the SimPro customer name field and then enter that here where it says enter Safety Culture question. I'll go into the site notes area and take the site name and enter that in here. Into the job details area and enter the SimPro description. Basically, we need to make sure that the question from Safety Culture has been copied against the field in SimPro. Private notes. Okay, that's the notes field. And we've got a job name. I think the job name was already done. Job details, order number, job name. So now as you can see, we've paired about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 fields, but there are so many fields available. Like every single field that's available on the SimPro job, technician, salesperson, STCs, financial details, all of the financial details. Again, you may or may not need to pair them, but all of those are available. Any contract details and any other custom fields that you have on the SimPro job will also be available in the same area. So you can just pair the custom fields in SimPro to any particular Safety Culture question And that way our system will backfill these questions. Once you're happy with all of that, once you're happy with the pairing, just come back down and hit submit, and that saves the pairing. Once you're happy with the changes that you've made here, you can hit publish, which I have. So this has been published. It doesn't update the date, but it has been published as the button is not visible. So if I go back in, my smoke alarm maintenance checklist has now been published. I can say start inspection, and I would do a normal inspection the way we would. So I would do a normal inspection the way you would. And the only thing I need to select is this particular job number. So I select that job number, and that's all. I can leave all of this optional stuff off. I don't need to fill any of that optional stuff in, and I can go to the next area and just do a yes/no inspection like I would normally, and complete the inspection. Now this is the part where it gets interesting. If you look at this inspection that was completed, and we look at that inspection, none of the optional fields were filled in. But if you give it a minute or two, when the sync runs, and you can see here the sync is going to run in a minute. When the sync runs, all of this data will be updated by SyncEzy, and all of this will have the latest information that has come in from SyncEzy within SimPro. So we would take the information from the job 541. So if I go into that job, I'm just going to exit out of that job, switch to read only because I don't want to edit that job. Now when I look at that job, all of this information, anything that we've entered in the description, anything that we've entered in the notes column, all of these details will come back from, will go into SimPro, will go into Safety Culture and bring it back. As you can see here, there was already an inspection completed, and that inspection checklist was updated in here. So if you look at the one that was done today, 19th of March, which I believe is this one here, 19th of March. When I look at that PDF currently contains all of these optional details that were not filled in when the inspection was done. When the inspection was done, only the SimPro job number was filled in, but all of this optional data is now filled in by SyncEzy, and we bring back the inspection in here as a PDF. And this is also available in Safety Culture, of course, but now you've got the inspection connected to the job. That's what the integration does. These checkboxes, whether you want them to be email ticked on or public ticked on, you can control those both in here in your SyncEzy account. So if you go into details, you've got the ability to turn on email and public. The integration as such will automatically continue to work every time you complete an inspection, and all you need to do is edit the template and add the job fields in the template in Safety Culture. As long as you use the same questions in all of those newer templates, we don't control how many you use. You can use as many inspection templates as you wish, and in all of those templates, simply include the job name and the same question names so that we can pair them and bring the data back into Safety Culture. I hope this is useful. If there's any more questions, feel free to reach out to us. We've got 24/5 support on chat, or you can also book a meeting with us via the portal. Perfect. Thank you for now, and we'll speak to you later.